Yeah, it's mindset cafe, we all about that mindset. Gotta stay focused, never settle for less. It's all in your head, how you think you manifest. So get ready to rise, cause we about to be the best. Gotta switch it up, gotta break the old habits. Get your mind right, turn your dreams into habits. No negative vibes, only positive thoughts.
What's up, guys? Welcome to another episode of the Mindset Cafe podcast. It's your boy, Devin Gonzalez. And today, I want to start off with a visual, right? Before we get into the topic, right? Imagine you're holding a bowl and you drop that bowl on the floor and you're watching it shatter into a million pieces. Instead of throwing it away, you repair every crack with pure gold. That's Kintsugi, right? And whether you know it or not, that's also your life story. Because let's be honest, you've been through some version of hell. Maybe no one sees it, but you definitely feel it. And this episode is really about proving to yourself that what tried to break you is exactly what is qualifying you for what's to come. And to make it in simple terms, like the cracks of the bowl being shattered, like we're talking about scars, right? We're talking about your broken pieces. And the Japanese philosophy that says essentially you're not just fixed, but you're enhanced by what you've survived or what you've gone through, what fires you've been forged by, right? So the Japanese philosophy, again, is Kintsugi. It's the art of repairing broken pottery with gold, right? They don't hide the breaks. They don't pretend it never shattered. They fill the cracks with pure gold, and they make those broken pieces even more valuable than when it was perfect before the cracks, before the breaks. And that's when, honestly, it really, like, when I heard about that philosophy, I realized, and I kind of sat with it for a minute and realized, like, that's us. That's you. That's me, right? So I want to kind of start off with the concept of, like, your scars are your receipts, right? I've got scars, you've got scars. Some may be obvious, like a surgery, an accident, maybe a dumb decision when you were a kid. Believe me, I have a handful of those. Some are invisible, though, right? A betrayal, a failure, a loss, that one conversation that changed how maybe you see yourself. Most people treat scars like something that they have to hide. They try to cover it with makeup. They bury it under maybe a fake smile. They distract you from your work, your social media, so you don't have to look at it, right? But your scars are not mistakes in the design. They're proof that you've lived a life. They're proof that you've swung. They're proof that you didn't quit when life hit back. They're proof that you're a stronger version now than you were, right? You've heard probably the term battle wounds or battle scars, right? That's what essentially those are, whether they're physical or they're metaphorical, meaning like the emotional scars from your past. You have to realize that that's what allowed you to become who you are today. Without those scars, you would not be the person you are today. Right? You wouldn't have learned those lessons. You wouldn't have gotten those experiences. So don't treat them as a weakness, right? So the Kintsugi shift, the mindset shift is simple, but also brutal at the same time, right? Something breaks, you don't throw it away. You don't hide the crack. You highlight it with gold. You lean into it, right? That gold in your life, that's the lesson you've learned. That's the wisdom. That's the resilience. That's the new standard that you built from pain, right? The world says, if it's broken, replace it. Kintsugi says, if it's broken, honor it and upgrade it, right? Or in terms of like what we're talking about with life is essentially, if it breaks, acknowledge it, heal it, and now you're upgraded, right? So here's where most people kind of get it twisted, in my opinion, is we think being valuable means looking untouched, no baggage, no past, no mistakes, whether it's perfect skin, a perfect resume, a perfect relationship, perfect mindset. Honestly, that's all bullshit, right? The people you respect the most I want you to think about those people right now, right? The people that you look up to the most, that you respect the most, right? Those aren't the ones who never fell. They're not perfect. And you know that, they know that. Those are the ones who fell hard, got up, and didn't edit that part out of their life story. That's why you could relate with them. That's why you could look up to them. It's the strength of building themselves back up. If you've ever looked at someone and thought, wow, they're strong, what you're really seeing is them through that build. You're really seeing Kintsugi. You're seeing someone who's refused to let a break be the end, right? So your personal story is just that, right? Your personal story is not meant to be my personal story, the next person's personal story. It's your own, right? For example, with launching the business, for Strive 11, there was so many times that it could have been the end, through different partnerships, through different, investments, whatever. But each time I just figured out a new way to talk to the next person, a new way to look for a certain, kind of person or a certain kind of investor, or whatever the case may be. And those are all things that made me better in my terms of just being a business owner. Another one, let's say, on a more personal standpoint, not business, but in fitness, right? More recently, I would say probably about a year ago, I was a lot leaner than I am right now, right? And that was not by choice. I mean, I guess it is by my own choices, but I was not actively trying to be lean or thin. And a lot of people would tell me essentially, wow, like you're leaning out, are you trying to lose weight, or, and it always kind of felt kind of like a compliment, but also kind of like a backhanded compliment, because I know naturally I'm a little bit bigger and a little bit bulkier. And that's the way I like to be, is, in my fitness journey. So that part of me was broken in the terms of launching the business and kind of letting my own personal fitness hit the back burner, but realizing that and fixing that leaned into being a strength, right? Then I just got to get better at managing my personal time, managing those things, right? Those little cracks and stuff when it was happening allowed me to reanalyze and get better at what I was currently doing, right? At the time, it could feel like everything is falling apart, right? When you look back at the moment that didn't ruin you, it kind of reveals you, right? When looking back today, looking back on, a year ago, 2 years ago, what was a struggle that you thought was, going to be the end, right? And now look at you now, it wasn't. And now if that ever happened again, you would know how to handle it, right? The crack doesn't disappear. It just turns into a golden line running straight through your story, just like mine did for me. And if you don't, to give you a better understanding of what I mean by the bowls and stuff like that, like, have you ever seen the bowls or the cups or the plates that essentially almost kind of have like a marble look to it, right? With like the gold or the silver, kind of all running through like abstract lines, kind of like lightning bolts. That's what Kintsugi is, right? That it's not marble. Like, that was a broken piece of pottery that they put back together. So how do you do, this mental Kintsugi, kind of practice, or how can you make it a practical application, right? Because it's easy to say, but I want to kind of give you some tools at least that you can take away and make what you think is a weakness, right? Use your scars to be a strength and make them realize that that's you, right? So let's get practical, right? Because mindset without application, honestly, is just motivational noise, right? So step one, you have to name the break, right? Stop downplaying it. Stop saying it wasn't that bad when it was. Call it what it was: a loss, a betrayal, a failure, a collapse, whatever the case may be. Name it. Step 2, extract the gold, right? Ask, essentially the gold meaning the lesson. What did this teach me about myself? What did this teach me about people? What did this teach me about what I will never tolerate again? That's your gold. That's what makes you stronger moving forward. And then step 3 is reinforce it, right? Reinforce the fracture. Turn that lesson into a behavior, right? Whether it's a new boundary, a new habit, a new standard, a new non-negotiable. This is where you stop repeating the same cycle and start walking differently and start living differently. And then lastly, step 4 is stop hiding it, right? Stop hiding it. You don't need to trauma dump on everyone you meet, but you also don't need to act like your story is anything to be ashamed of. You've survived things. You've gone through things. So have other people. That's how you become relatable. That's how you are viewed as strong, right? That's where strength is. You've survived those things. That's why you are who you are today, right? You survived certain things that would have folded other people. That's not a weakness. That's equity in who you are today, right? Because let's talk about the costs of you hiding those cracks, right? When you don't do this, when you hide your scars, when you live on defense, you live terrified of someone will see the real you, the mess, the mistakes, the chapters that you hate of your life. You start performing instead of living. You settle instead of building. You numb out instead of healing. And honestly, here's the worst part about that, in my opinion, is you block people from seeing the very thing that makes you powerful and relatable, right? Your humanity, your story, your comeback, right? That's what authenticity is. And actually, what I want to do is kind of reframe that, and I want you to walk away with something, right? I want you to realize that you're not broken. You're forged, right? You're not broken. You are forged. Broken is something that's fragile, right? If it breaks once, it's going to break again. Like forged means it's tested, it's tried. Broken, you throw it away. Forged is trusted to last, right? So you're not broken. You are forged to be who you are today. That's why I usually say, you are forged by the fire, right? You're not broken by the fire. You are forged by the fire. Life has already hit you. You already have the evidence that you can take the shot and still be here listening to this and still be doing the things that you're doing. That alone means you're not soft, you're not weak, and you're not done yet. So here's the challenge I want to give you for this episode is I want you to actually do this and not just think about it. It's the main thing, right? Pick one of your scars, right? Whether it's a physical one, emotional one, and write it down. What happened to you? What did it cost you? And then what goal did you gain from it, right? So when you write down again, what happened? What did it cost you? And then what goal did I gain that I refuse to ignore anymore? That might be the standard, right? That might be the decision. That might be the moment you decided I will never be that version of myself again, right? That's the biggest one I think a lot of people need to realize is that right there is the moment you get to decide, I will never be that version of myself again, right? And that's your Kintsugi line. That is your gold, right? So hopefully, if this hits home for you, don't hoard it, right? Don't hold it all to yourself. If you know someone right now, or you think you know someone right now if you think you know someone right now who thinks that they're damaged beyond repair, right? Someone who thinks maybe their story disqualifies them, please share this episode with them. Text it to them, tell it to them, post it on, send it in their DM, right? And then just add the part, you're not done. You're just in the part where the gold gets added, right? So share this episode with them and send a little message. You're not done. You're just in the part where the gold gets added. That honestly would mean so much to someone that's going through something right now, right? Because you're not less because you've been broken. You're actually more. You're not less valuable because you've been broken. You are more valuable. So I hope this episode of the Mindset Cafe resonated with you a little bit and kind of got to shift your mindset a little bit. And hopefully you can send this to a friend that is going through it, or, thinks, is kind of thinking down on themselves, right? Or has been disqualifying themselves, for a while now. So go live your life, show those scars. Those are your gold. And I just want to say, I, like always, appreciate you guys. I love y'all. If you guys ever need anything, you know where to reach me.
No negative vibes, only positive thoughts. 'Cause in the game of life, mindset calls the shots. Got my mind on the prize, I can't be distracted. I stay on my grind, no time to